Money is a very sensitive topic in marriage, and many people have been divorced over it. And some of you may be debating divorce over money issues right now. So let's talk about money and being a husband today. Welcome to the Husband's Coach's Corner, the podcast that teaches husbands how to love their wife every day and become better men in the process. I'm your host, Chris Scott, aka the Husband Coach. Hey, welcome back to the Husband Coach's Corner. I'm going to forego the formal intro because today I want to talk about something extremely serious that plagues so many marriages. And men, if you don't get anything from this podcast today, I want you to know you have a huge influence on the ability to love your wife, even though there's financial challenges in your marriage. Your leadership will be able to bring joy and peace, or it can bring fear and destruction in your marriage. That's how much influence you have, regardless of who's bringing home the most money or all the money, none of the money, whatever it is. How you respond to your wife will dramatically impact your ability to stay married and to build your relationship. Now, today I'm going to be sharing a very, very brief story about my childhood and where my wife, Crystal, and we struggled in our marriage with finances. I believe we have one of the more common occurrences in marriage. So if you resonate with this, then awesome. I want you to know that you can overcome these situations in your marriage. If you're right there thinking, okay, if we can't figure out this money thing, then I'm calling it quits. So I just want you guys to know I highly encourage you to really evaluate where you stand in your marriage as it pertains to money. When I was growing up, money was tight in our house, but we had money, and I seen what my dad was doing financial decision-wise. Because of him, I made some choices on how I was going to spend my money in our marriage when Crystal and I got married, but I really did forget one thing, and that was I need to make sure my wife and I are on the same page when it comes to how we spend the money. See, I just bought random stuff throughout our marriage, and now we call those random things astronaut helmets, because most of the things that I bought, you only really need it in certain situations, and then you would probably never need it again. And the irony is, looking back on it now, I probably really didn't need to buy half of the things that I bought and we fought over, and I hurt my wife over, not physically, but emotionally, by continuing to do this, right? Last week we talked about building trust and having that consistency. I ran some issues with this because I destroyed the trust because I built consistency in her saying, please stop buying stuff like that because I want to make sure that we're taken care of. And me saying, yeah, we're going to be fine. I always meet the needs. I take care of the family. And I buy all the clothes. I buy all the food. I pay all the bills. And we got money in the savings and we got money here. Like, it's good. But what I failed to realize is my wife had a different upbringing than me, where she understood that we had money. She didn't really trust. Like, I didn't build her security in the way that we were spending the money, and if it needed to be spent on things, because her family had a very different approach to how they utilize money, which that's something that was impressed upon her. And so when we got married and she seen me just throwing money all over the place, it kind of confused her. I felt like, hey, you got money because you have access to the bank, where all of our money is. So if you need money or you need to go do something, here you go do it. Like, it didn't bother me. I was very loose with spending the money. Well, and if she wanted something, she could get it. It took for Crystal and I to have a real serious conversation before I realized that I was hurting her in an emotional way, not a physical way. Because she would say, please stop spending money because it makes me feel uncomfortable. And I would just go out and spend 600 there, 700 here, 1,000 here. And it was really starting to scar her to the point that she had to say something to me. And she told me, you know, when you buy stuff, you really do hurt me. And, you know, I was like, wait a minute. What do you mean I'm really hurting you? Like, and so we had a conversation about it, and I was able to go deeper with her. Now, guys, at the time of this recording, we've been married for 13 years. I would love to be able to tell you that I figured this out earlier on in our marriage, but I didn't. We didn't have this conversation until about year 9 in our marriage, where she just broke down and said she couldn't take it anymore. We were in a situation where our marriage may or may not have survived based off of decisions I was going to make from this point forward. The mindset that I had was my money was my money, and she was lucky to get some of it, right? If I'm buying all the stuff and I'm taking the kids out and I'm taking her out and we went on dates and all kinds of things, in my mind, I'm like, hey, we're good. You're good. Chill. And, you know, we weren't struggling. We had money and, you know, we're good financially. My emotional reaction to her when she was trying to tell me how she really felt, I just kind of dismissed her. And that's what was hurting her. So every astronaut helmet that I bought represented a level of trust that I broke down because I was consistent in spending a lot of money on things that I didn't really need. Looking back on it, having the wisdom that I do today on it, yeah, I could have absolutely gone without those things to benefit our marriage, but I decided not to. So my hope by the end of this podcast is that if many of you listening find yourself in this financial situation where you don't think that you're going to be able to overcome this, then I just hope that you'll be able to hear me out and sit down with your wife and have that conversation. So some of the common money issues is the phrase, my money is my money and your money is my money, right? This is a challenge that usually the wife has this conversation, right? If there's 2 incomes in the home, one of the popular phrases that our culture seems to really be okay with, and I never fully understood it, was when the wife says, my money is my money and your money is my money. And it's like, well, that sounds like a terrible philosophy to have in your marriage, because someone's going to be resenting someone, right? If as the husband, you feel like you're being belittled or being emasculated or demasculated, whatever, then yeah, you're going to say, you know what? I don't know if this marriage is even worth it. Like, I can't even spend my money the way that I want to, or every time that I bring home the money, she takes it and spends it and buys all of the things that she wants to, and I get nothing out of it. So I think it's time for me to just call it quits. So if you find yourself in this situation, this is where you sit down with your wife and say, hey, look, one, that philosophy is not going to be beneficial in our marriage. We need to cut that out. Money in the marriage is money in the marriage. Because another common issue with this particular mindset is one paycheck goes towards the bills and the other paycheck goes towards, you know, entertainment, things of that sort. Now, if this is working for you, then go for it. But when you start segregating who has what responsibility in the marriage, uh, it really becomes a, hey, you didn't do your end of the of what you were, like, you didn't do what you were supposed to do in the marriage, so you're a terrible husband or you're a terrible wife, and that's not beneficial. So what I recommend you do here instead is you say, hey, let's just get a joint account, put all the money in there, and let's build the trust with one another that when we want to spend something crazy, then we go ahead and talk about it and then we go spend it. But when it comes to paying the bills, like cell phone bills, right? As long as it comes out of, uh, as long as it gets paid, right? I recommend you use a separate checking account to pay your bills. And you just put all the money in that checking account, and then you go and pay all your bills, or all the money that you need to pay your bills, into that checking account. And then you have your other account that you use for your groceries or your expenses, whatever you want to do. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, but this is how it has helped my wife and I, because she can see that I'm putting the money aside for the bills, and that's all taken care of. And then she can also see how much money is in the like our just go out and spend money account, or buy things, at random. You want to go to dinner, let's go to dinner, things like that. She can see that in a completely separate checking account, and she feels more confident in what she can spend, because the money is not all in one place where it's like, okay, I got to count. Like I do all of the financial separation into the two separate accounts, but it's all based off of a budget that we both agreed on. So she knows that as long as I move the dollar amount into the bill pay account, she sees that and she's confident that she can go out and spend stuff, because now there's no more fear. Now, my recommendation, if you have a wife with the mindset of your money is my money and her money is her money, is you sit down and say, hey, let's just combine all of our money into one account and separate it into a bill pay account, or separate our money into two separate accounts, but all at the same bank. So you can see both accounts on the app. If you are into mobile banking, that's what we do. And I love it. By doing that, I've been more transparent. My wife has been transparent. We've just been transparent with each other. It's great. Now, the other misconception or issue with finances is your wife is just spending all the money before you could pay the bills, and it's upsetting you, and you're just tired of it. You want to give up on the marriage because she just doesn't understand no responsibility. Guess what? These two bank accounts works in for this scenario too. When you get paid, put all the money into, or put the amount of money you need to cover your checking, or I'm sorry, to cover your bills into a separate checking account, and that's your bill pay account. And then put all your money that you are okay with her spending into another account, and you just give her access to that account where she has the money. But you know that all your bills are going to be paid and she's not going to be able to touch that. Have that conversation with her, and you show her the budget. Like, look, this is how much money I bring home. This is what you're spending on average. And when you spend the money, this is the situation that it puts us in. If your wife isn't, feeling that, then maybe it's time to get a counselor involved, a third party, where you can sit down and just say, hey, look, I need someone to go in between us and help us see eye to eye and have this conversation. Get a financial advisor. You can absolutely overcome it by working on it. Now, there are a ton of other financial issues in marriage, but I'm not going to be able to cover them all here because I genuinely don't know it. But what I do know is, by having some patience, you can come together with your wife, sit down and say, this is what we need to be doing, and here's how I would like to do it. When you do that, your wife sees a level of confidence in you. You build a level of confidence in her, and you both thrive in your marriage. I'm hoping that if you don't have a budget, make a budget. There are tons of formats of a budget online. I think Excel even has a budget thing. I think there's a budget thing if you go to Google Docs or not Google Docs, Google Sheets. There's a template for a budget in there. Fill that bad boy out and then sit down with your wife and say, hey, look, here's where we are. Regardless of which situation you're in, you need a budget. I love using our budget because it helps us tremendously. Like there's no more confusion on where our money goes or how we spend our money because we have a budget and we know if we're good or if we're not good. So hopefully, this helps someone. I kind of rambled a little bit, but I just wanted to be like straight with you off my heart because I really do want to see each and every one of your marriages thrive. Now, if you have some specific questions in reference to finances and how you should respond as a husband, you can leave a message on the anchor.fm page that's linked in the show notes. Or you can send me an email at husbandcoach2020@gmail.com. I check that inbox at least once a day. So if you have questions or you just need someone to consult with, please reach out to me. It's free. It's no charge. I just want to make sure that, I want to help as many husbands out there as I can, within the capacity that I can serve. I hope you guys all are staying safe out there. And until the next time, I want you guys to find a way to love your wife every single day. Peace.